Tonight we mourn, tomorrow we hunt, and then we dance to find damaged people, damaged people, damaged people in the UK, damaged people, damaged people, damaged people in the UK. Damage was directed by Terry McDonough, who's done television and other projects. Check out his IMDb page for the full list of his work. That intro, if you are a deep cut wrestling fan, you know. If not, I will just say Disco Inferno, one of the worst wrestlers in the history of professional wrestling. What a fucking catastrophe he was to watch and listen to on the mic. Disco Inferno, thankfully, nowhere near this. Professional wrestling, nowhere near this. No suplexes, no diving headbutts, no nothing. Just copious amounts of blood in Damaged, which was written by three people, Paul Anello, and also written by and starring Gianni Capaldi, who plays the character of Glenn. He's also had some various roles throughout his career. And Koji Steven Sakai, who has written some films, including most recently Skeletons in the Closet. I did a full review of that on the Real Honest Movie Reviews playlist. You can check out how I felt about Skeletons in the Closet. Thankfully, that plot's over here and Damage is over here, because the UK is actually that direction, considering where I live. Washington State, by the way, just in case you're wondering. So, this stars Samuel L. Jackson, and of course, the L in Samuel L. Jackson stands for motherfucker. He plays Detective Dan Lawson, who is in Chicago and has really just found so much frustration in his life because he's lost people close to him. Also, being a detective, he was on the hunt to find the serial killer, and then the cases went cold. Then they pick back up in the UK, Scotland specifically, and, well, now he must team up with Glenn DCI Boyd, I believe that's how they say it over there, played by Gianni, and they must investigate why the killings are popping up over here. What the hell is going on? And then from there, we have a murder mystery with some attempts at twists, even though it's pretty obvious from the beginning who the killer is, but that's okay. Obvious doesn't mean bad. And at least the cast is pretty talented. Also, Samuel L. Jackson, just in case, yeah, he was in films like this. You know, first we're going to seal off this pool. Wham! He was also in A Long Kiss Goodnight. And then he had it with these motherfucking snakes on this motherfucking plane. And you know what? He didn't want to be in the movie. It wasn't going to be called Snakes on the Plane. And I respect that. Also, John Hannah's in this. Most famously in The Mummy. He's also been in other stuff. You know, John Hannah's actually a pretty good actor. And also Vincent Cassel, who was in one of my favorite movies of all time, Brotherhood of the Wolf. Also has Italy's best export, Monica Bellucci. Fight me in the comments. But I was most excited, in all honesty, in all seriousness, because Nicolette McKeown, that's McKeown. So if I said that wrong, I apologize. She's a Scottish actress that I discovered seeing Mercy Falls on. It's on Tubi, by the way, if you want to check it out. And she was really good. She was really good, and I was like, she's a fucking standout. Not only is she talented, not only is she good at playing either the sweet, innocent girl or a really, really bad bitch, and I mean that in the most respectful way possible, but also she's a fucking knockout. She's an absolute knockout. And she's driven and wants to get better. And I was excited to see her in this. So basically, yeah, we have serial killer stuff occurring on two continents. Well, specifically occurred on one continent, and now is occurring in Scotland. They must figure out and solve this mystery before more bodies are dismembered and history. Damage Tales, woohoo! So yeah, we get a few crucial details that pretty much lead us to the exact conclusion that everybody expected. And while obvious is not necessarily bad, the talented cast, the beautiful locations, and a few decent body horror scenes and a little bit of suspense in the beginning isn't the worst thing in the world. The problem is the movie stumbles once it gets to the second act, and especially in the third act, to the point where I think a singular focus and not having three writers might have helped. Like, having more input isn't the worst thing in the world, but there were elements of good ideas here and no proper execution. And I don't know, it just didn't fully click like I think it should have, and that's despite the talented cast. And I was really looking forward to seeing Nicolette in this movie, so I was excited and plunked down about almost $8 on Amazon after taxes to watch it, and why the hell not? So the opening scene actually does set the tone pretty well, and then we get some build between Samuel L. Jackson, who did lose somebody close to him, and his partner, Walker Bravo, Vincent, had moved to the UK to, to get away from stuff, basically get away. It's like, I wonder what he got away from. And then also Glenn's going through some stuff with home life. Him and his wife lost their child, and that's obviously fractured their marriage. And certain things are going on. Yeah, that is a bit of a spoiler, but kind of not really, because it's revealed within the first, 20 minutes, I think. And then, and losing a child would never be easy. No parent should ever have to bury their child. No parent should ever have to go through that. And then, basically as the bodies get dismembered, and it's only a few, but it's good enough, to set the tone for it. There's this one line, let's wait and see if the torso shows up. Golden Corral's new slogan. So many slogans. Or maybe it's Red Robin, yum. So thankful no reps from those goddamn places are watching this. I mean this in just the most fun way possible. Yeah, then from there, we just get your basic murder mystery that really doesn't end up being a mystery because it's obvious who the killer is. And unfortunately, the movie ends up plodding along where, I'm not going to say don't watch this, but this ends up being basic. It's a basic bitch of a suspense movie because there's no real suspense. Everybody tries. There's a talented cast, but it just doesn't end up working overall to me. Not the worst thing I've seen this year, just not necessarily something that I was like, okay, this is absolutely something that, I need to go and watch again. I appreciated what they tried to do, and I certainly look forward to seeing what else everybody can do in the future, especially Nicolette. Again, I think she has a very bright future. Definitely works hard. But, yeah, it was what it was. I'm going to get into spoilers, but it just doesn't end up clicking, I think, the way they wanted it to. It's fine at times and then stumbles and really gets silly in the end. Anyway, 3, 2, 1, and spoilers. So, in the beginning, there was a rap, as our Lord and Savior Dr. Dre once said. I was excited to see Nicolette, and she was killed in the first few minutes. Well, god damn it. I mean, hey, it sets the tone and everything, but I was like, okay, well, damn it. I was hoping to see her in a little bit more of a prominent role, but you know what? Okay, let's see how the rest of the film plays out. Kind of just plays out basic. Basically, Glenn wasn't there for his wife. His wife had cheated. That ties in a little bit later, and they're still trying to work through their relationship. And this one woman gets off a little bit later, just going to, at least with Nicolette's character, Abigail, there was a delivery coming, and somebody, was like, oh, delivery, and then the person attacked her. Wearing a slicker, like we're in fucking Unbreakable and everything. Which is another movie that Samuel L. Jackson was in. It's something I really should go back and revisit, back when M. Night Shyamalan Ding Dong did good movies. But Nicolette gets killed, gets dismembered. Is it ritualistic? There's a reference to a cult, that's hence why I'm wearing this shirt, a church cult, that it sort of ties into the end, but in a really, really lame way. And John Hannah plays McGregor, Colin McGregor, because I guess calling him Conor McGregor was a bit too on the abusive nose. If you know, you know. Speaking of nose, we know how Conor decides to get down. It does turn out, actually, that McGregor did, because one of his exes died, that he was responsible for 2 of the killings. And Samuel Jackson keeps referencing the fact that his partner walked away. He walked away and did all this stuff. And no, it's got to be Vincent, because Vincent is always a fucking villain. Black Swan. I think he was a villain in Crimson Rivers, which I haven't seen in a while. I remember liking. I got to check that out at some point. Again, it was a great movie. Got to seek that out. Beautiful, lush scenery. Had Jean Reno in it. So nevertheless, more symbols of crime scenes. There's 715, a reference to a Bible theme, but also the Chicago area code. I guess. I've never been in Chicago. And Walker got away to be an author, do all this. I'm like, he's the killer. He's actually not the killer, shockingly. John Hannah gets off. That's kind of gross, because he actually does get off dealing with the, beaten off while Marie, played by, let's see, Laura Haddock, who is gorgeous, by the way. I need to see more stuff. I've seen her in something. I'm trying to remember what, but she's gorgeous. So they're having a dinner. Basically, Vincent or Walker, Marie, and Glenn and Lawson, and too many first and last names. And then she says, oh, you can't judge a person's actions when their sanity is stripped. And that's true. It's also foreshadowing. And, yeah, losing the kid would be tough. And then Marie turns up dead. Oh, no, she turns up dead. I wonder how that happened. Walker suspects, or Glenn suspects, rather, after talking to Walker, that it actually is, that it is John Hannah's character. No, it's not. John Hannah had nothing to do with that. He turns up dead after taking a piss. And then there's this talk of a foreigner. Gee, I wonder who the foreigner is, because Walker's been over there and suddenly the killings pile up. But Walker's been over there for 18 years. Who's the other foreigner? It's Samuel L. Jackson. Why is Samuel L. Jackson doing this? Because Walker and the love of his life, the love of Lawson's life, had an affair, and he decided, I'm going to fucking kill her. But guess what? I have to dismember her corpse, and then I have to kill the person they sold the necklace that you gave to her, and the waiter served you the drinks, and kill all these people. And I'm going to kill these other people. And John Hannah was over here doing this stuff. And fuck no, I'm going to be the one doing this, and I'm going to kill you. And why am I going to do this? Because plot. Which the plot went totally off the goddamn rails at this point. It's revenge, except you don't have any sympathy for anybody, because Walker was just over here. He wasn't even there. It was Owen. That's a deep cut reference. And then Glenn realizes that it's Lawson, chases after him, or Boyd rather, chases after him. They get caught in the woods. There's a bit of a shootout where I call it the Hunger Detective games. Still better than the ending of the Songbirds and Snacks. And then, basically, Samuel Jackson shoots his phone. He just shoots Glenn's phone and says, well, don't worry, you're fine. Because earlier, there was a line that says, tonight we mourn, tomorrow we hunt. After Marie died. Because he killed Marie. Why'd he kill Marie? Because Marie cheated on him. Just like what his girlfriend did. And then, Boyd, a little bit later, is trying to find Samuel Jackson and doesn't find him. Even after saying, today you run, tomorrow I hunt. They try to find him coming from a ferry. There's another guy that looks like a stunt double for Samuel Jackson, I guess. And then Samuel Jackson is still in the country. And just some of the worst green screen effects I've seen at the end of this. Jesus fucking Christ, they run out of money? What the fuck happened? I mean, I'm sorry, I try to be fair, but that was egregious. That was terrible. But Samuel Jackson then takes off, and I guess they're implying the damage to Electric Boogaloo. I don't know why. I went a little deeper on this movie than I planned, just because of all the stuff going on. But no, it's not a 1 out of 10. It's not even a 3 out of 10 or 4 out of 10. It's like I have to give it an F. I'm sorry. Even with the talent there in front of the camera and even with the effort, it wasn't good. It was a mess. It got almost incomprehensibly simple and then convoluted, and it's just, I don't know. It just did not work. It did not work. It gets an F. Not saying don't check it out. Give it a shot. Maybe you'll feel differently. Agree, disagree, what I said, like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Retland, and once again, I do want to say Nicolette, I hope she has fruitful career, because she really is driven and very talented. See you soon.